So ADA has seen a move of over 10% to the downside, following this price surge to the upside, where we ended up tapping into our fifth wave target, which sits between 86.28 cents to 88.96 cents. And here you can see that ADA ended up reaching 86.43 cents. And this move to the downside, I think it is a reflection of people taking profits, given that we're seeing a move of over 30%, I believe. So if I just quickly check that actually. And yeah, we've seen a move of 34.5% to the upside. And so I do think that those that took profits will be looking at an opportunity to be buying at a lower price, which could then potentially drive the price of ADA up towards higher highs. And yeah, within this retracement, it looks like a WXY structure is forming, where what we have is a WXY structure, and within this W wave, we have another WXY structure. And so if I just quickly check to see if that W wave met the typical requirements. And yeah, it looks like we ended up tapping into that pocket between the 1 to 1.236 retracement level, where the 100% retracement level sits at 78.08 cents, and we ended up reaching 78.02 cents. And then, yeah, following this move to the downside, we then saw a retracement to the upside to complete the X wave, which is typically a 50 to 88.2% retracement of the W wave. And so, yeah, you can see that the 50% retracement level sits at 82.12 cents, and ADA ended up reaching 82.46 cents. And then, yeah, it looks like now we are within a Y wave, given that we've seen lower lows, where the low at 78.02 cents was broken and it went deeper. And so that Y wave will typically be a 1 to 1.236 retracement level of our wave W. And so ADA has the potential to reach anywhere between 72.66 cents to 74.43 cents. So if I draw that in, now, of course, we have met the minimum requirement, which is the 0.618 retracement level, which we met twice, and we've seen that bounce to the upside, and so it's possible that we see higher highs. Or alternatively, what could happen is we retest the 200 DMA, and then we find support at that level, and then we see that bounce to the upside. But I will be looking for a deeper move to the downside, where we then potentially tap into this region here. Now, what's interesting about this move to the downside within the Y wave is it looks like a zigzag pattern is forming, where we have a WXY structure, and the W wave is made up of 5 waves. And so if I go to the 5-minute chart, and here what I can see is impulsive moves rather than impulsive moves like we've seen within a W wave, where we have a WXY structure, for example. And so, yeah, because the W wave within a WXY structure within a Y wave is made up of 5 waves, then that then means that the Y wave will also need to be made up of 5 waves. And so this W wave, what you can see is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, followed by this move to the upside, where we could potentially be within our X wave, which is typically a 50 to 88.2% retracement of the W wave. So ADA has the potential to reach anywhere between 79.77 cents to 81.82 cents. So if I draw that in, like so, and yeah, you can see that the 200 DMA sits at 80.33 cents. And so it will be interesting to see if we see that bounce to the upside, where we then retest that 200 DMA. And should we do so, it will be interesting to see if we get rejected and then we see that move to the downside. And so this X wave could potentially be made up of a WXY structure like so, and then we see that move to the downside to complete the Y wave, where what we could have forming is a WXY structure like so. And again, because the W wave is made up of 5 waves, that means that the Y wave will also need to be made up of 5 waves. And that pattern is also known as a zigzag pattern. Now, if I go back to the hourly chart, and what you can see is the indicators are still showing us that we are still bullish, given that smart money concept is indicating that we have a strong low and a weak high. And the current price of ADA is sitting above the 200 EMA, and it will be interesting to see if we retest the 50 EMA. And for us to be bullish, then of course we need to continue to break through that level and then see higher highs. But it will be interesting to see if we get rejected, and should we do so, it will be a case of whether or not we find support at the 200 EMA or we go slightly deeper and tap into this region here. And as far as the stochastic RSI goes, we are oversold, and so the bulls could have the momentum to continue to drive the price of ADA up towards high highs. And the same can be said on the 4-hour chart, where we are oversold on the stochastic RSI. Now, what is interesting is we have found support within this pocket here between around 77 cents to around 79 cents. And so, in fact, that's where our fair value gap is, which has just popped up. And so, yeah, again, we could see that bounce to the upside. But of course, I am looking for a deeper move to the downside where we'll potentially tap into this region here. And so, yeah, that's just my quick update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully you found this useful. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.